Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend the 19th G20 Leaders Summit in Brazil's Rio de Janeiro. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Abuja, discusses ways to further strengthen the ties. 3 MoUs signed. The Prime Minister addresses Indian diaspora. US President Joe Biden allows Ukraine to use US-supplied long-range missiles for strikes inside Russia. Israeli airstrike kills Hezbollah media chief in central Beirut. After concluding his successful Nigeria visit, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the 19th G20 summit in Brazil's Rio de Janeiro. As a Troika member, India will play a significant role in shaping the agenda, building on the momentum from its own G20 presidency. Brazil is expected to maintain the focus on Global South priorities, ensuring continuity and progress on key issues. The theme of Brazil's G20 presidency is building a just world and a sustainable planet, and it strongly aligns with the priorities that India advanced in 2023. It will be the first G20 summit to be held in Brazil. It will also be the first full G20 summit with the African Union as a member, having joined during the 2023 G20 summit in New Delhi. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Abuja. Both the leaders discussed ways to further strengthen the ties. 3 MoUs were signed. The next report explores this in detail.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with the Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Abuja on Sunday. The two leaders reviewed the ongoing bilateral cooperation and discussed ways to further strengthen the India-Nigeria strategic partnership.
नाइजीरिया के साथ अपनी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को हम उच्च प्राथमिकता देते हैं। रक्षा, ऊर्जा, आर्थिक विषय, टेक्नोलॉजी, हेल्थ, एजुकेशन, कल्चर जैसे कई क्षेत्र ऐसे हैं में हमारा सहयोग मजबूत है और अनेक नई संभावनाएं भी हमारे इस संबंधों में जुड़ी हुई है।
The two leaders also discussed global and regional issues. PM offered India's experience in agriculture, transportation, affordable medicine, renewable energy and digital transformation to Nigeria. The two leaders also discussed enhancing defense and security cooperation. They reaffirmed their commitment to jointly fighting terrorism, piracy and radicalization.
आतंकवाद, अलगाववाद, पायरेसी या ड्रग तस्करी जैसी चुनौतियों से निपटने के लिए हम मिलकर काम करते रहे हैं और मजबूती से हम आगे भी करते रहेंगे.
The two leaders had a restricted meeting which was followed by delegation-level talks. Prime Minister recalled his warm meeting with President Tinubu at the G20 summit in New Delhi. He noted that the two countries enjoy special bonds of friendship defined by a shared past, common democratic values and strong people-to-people ties. President Tinubu thanked Prime Minister for India's timely assistance with relief material and medicines. Following the talks, 3 memoranda of understanding on cultural exchange program, customs cooperation and survey cooperation were signed. Nigeria conferred the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger on India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, making him the second foreign dignitary to receive this prestigious award.
मैं इस सम्मान को विनम्रता और आदर भाव से स्वीकार करता हूं और इस सम्मान को 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों और भारत नाइजीरिया की गहरी मित्रता को समर्पित करता हूं.
Earlier, upon arrival at the State House, Prime Minister was accorded a ceremonial welcome with a 21-gun salute. With Vishal Baristo, Sudhakar Dasu's report for DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday addressed the Indian community in Nigeria during the first leg of his three-nation visit. Prime Minister received a rousing welcome by the Indian diaspora at the community event in Abuja. In his interaction with the Indian community, Prime Minister Modi hailed the values and unity of Indians abroad.
भारतीय कम्युनिटी नाइजीरिया के विकास के लिए कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चल रही है और यही तो भारत के लोगों की बहुत बड़ी ताकत है, भारत के लोगों के संस्कार है। हम दूसरे देश में भले जाएं, लेकिन सर्वहित के अपने संस्कार नहीं भूलते। हम तो वो लोग हैं जो सदियों से अपनी रगों में उन संस्कारों को लेकर के जिए हैं जो पूरे विश्व को एक परिवार मानता है।
Highlighting India's economic growth, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India will soon become the world's third largest economy.
10 सालों में भारत की इकोनॉमी का साइज 2 गुना हो गया है, डबल। आज भारत दुनिया की 5वीं सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था है। याद रहेगा ना? कितनी? और वो दिन दूर नहीं जब भारत $5 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी बन जाएगा, जब भारत दुनिया की तीसरी सबसे बड़ी इकोनॉमी बन जाएगा।
Prime Minister Modi highlighted India's growth in mobile and defense exports, adding that India now exports defense equipment to over 100 countries.
10 वर्ष में हमारा मोबाइल फोन एक्सपोर्ट 75 गुना से अधिक हो गया है। इन्हीं 10 सालों में भारत का डिफेंस एक्सपोर्ट ये करीब 30 गुना बढ़ गया है। आज हम दुनिया के 100 से ज्यादा देशों को डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं।
Prime Minister extended a heartfelt invitation to the Indian diaspora and their friends in Nigeria to visit India for upcoming celebrations in the country.
अगले वर्ष जनवरी में भारत में अनेक उत्सव एक साथ आने वाले हैं। जनवरी महीने में हर वर्ष हम 26 जनवरी को रिपब्लिक डे के रूप में मनाते हैं दिल्ली में, देश में। जनवरी महीने के दूसरे हफ्ते में प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस भी मनाया जा रहा है। और इस बार ये प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस भगवान जगन्नाथ जी के चरणों में उड़ीसा की धरती पर होने वाला है। इसमें पूरी दुनिया से आप जैसे साथी भारत में जुटने वाले हैं। अगले साल 13 जनवरी से 26 फरवरी तक 45 दिन प्रयागराज में महाकुंभ भी होने जा रहा है। भारत आने की इतनी सारी वजह है, एक साफ है। एक बड़ा ही सुखद संयोग आपके लिए बना हुआ है। आप इस दौरान भारत आए, अपने बच्चों को भारत लाएं और जो नाइजीरियन दोस्त भी है उनको भी साथ लाएं।
Prime Minister of the country, Narendra Modi, is only the second foreign leader to receive Nigeria's national award, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. Queen Elizabeth of the UK is the only other foreign dignitary to have received it in 1969. Let's take a look at the foreign honours bestowed on India's Prime Minister.
India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, the visionary leader of the world's largest democracy, has been conferred Nigeria's Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. This prestigious distinction makes him only the second foreign dignitary to receive it, a testament to his global standing and leadership. In a powerful show of international recognition, another nation from the global south, Dominica, has also announced it will bestow its highest national honor, the Dominica Award of Honor, upon Prime Minister Modi. This award honors his unwavering support to Dominica during the COVID-19 pandemic and his commitment to deepening the bond between India and the Caribbean nation. These latest awards are yet another feather in his cap. Over the years, Prime Minister Modi has been honored by countries and organizations around the world for his exceptional leadership and contributions. Some of these awards include: in July this year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi officially received Russia's most prestigious civilian honor, the Order of Saint Andrew the Apostle, which was bestowed upon him in 2019. The award recognizes Prime Minister Modi's distinguished contribution to developing a privileged strategic partnership between Russia and India and fostering friendly ties between the two countries. On 22nd of March 2024, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was conferred the Order of the Druk Gyalpo, Bhutan's highest civilian decoration, by King of Bhutan in a public ceremony at Thimphu. On 25th of August 2023, the Indian Prime Minister was conferred with the Grand Cross of the Order of Honor by President Katarina Sakellaropoulou of Greece. On July 13th, 2023, Prime Minister Modi was conferred with France's highest award, the Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor, in Paris. On 25th of June 2023, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi conferred Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi with its highest civilian award, the Order of the Nile, in Cairo. On 22nd of May 2023, Prime Minister Modi was conferred the highest honor of Fiji, the Companion of the Order of the Fiji, in recognition of his global leadership. Only a handful of non-Fijians have received this honor to date. On December 21st, 2020, the US President Donald Trump conferred the highest decoration, the Legion of Merit, degree Chief Commander, to Prime Minister Modi. The Legion of Merit, in the highest degree of the Chief Commander, is a prestigious award conferred by the US President. On 24th of August 2019, Prime Minister Modi was conferred the King Hamad Order of Renaissance during his visit to Bahrain in recognition of efforts to strengthen bilateral relations with the Gulf nation. Prime Minister Modi was the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Bahrain. On 24th of August 2019, Prime Minister Modi was honored with the UAE's highest civilian award, the Order of Zayed, in recognition of his pivotal role in building the strategic relationship between the two countries. The award has earlier been bestowed on world leaders like Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping. On June 8, 2019, Prime Minister Modi was conferred with the Maldives' highest honor, the Rule of Nishan Izzuddin, during a state visit to the country. The most honorable order of the distinguished Rule of Nishan Izzuddin is the Maldives' highest honor accorded to foreign dignitaries. On 10th of February 2018, Prime Minister Modi was conferred the Grand Collar of the State of Palestine, the highest Palestinian honor for foreign dignitaries. On 3rd of April 2016, during his visit to Saudi Arabia, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was conferred Saudi Arabia's highest civilian honor, Order of King Abdulaziz. Apart from the highest civilian honors, Prime Minister Modi has also been conferred with several awards by prestigious organizations across the globe. In 2019, Prime Minister Modi was conferred the Global Goalkeeper Award by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. First ever Philip Kotler Presidential Award was given to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2019. This award is offered annually to the leader of a nation. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was conferred with the Champions of the Earth Award 2018 for policy leadership by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Champions of the Earth is the highest UN honor in the field of environment. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was conferred with the prestigious Seoul Peace Prize for 2018. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a people's leader, dedicated to solving their problems and improving their well-being. Indian Prime Minister has ushered in a paradigm shift in governance that has led to inclusive, development-oriented and corruption-free governance. With inputs from Fuzail Ahmed, Mihir Makri reporting for DD India.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi discussed ways to further strengthen India-Nigeria strategic partnership with Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. India's Ministry of External Affairs said that Prime Minister Modi offered India's experience in agriculture, transportation, affordable medicine, renewable energy and digital transformation to Nigeria.
The two leaders discussed bilateral cooperation in the field of trade, investment, defense, security, education, health, culture and people-to-people level at the delegation level talks, and the two leaders also focused on further enhancing the strategic partnership in various sectors, in particular in agriculture, pharma, railways, transportation and development cooperation fields. There are about 200 Indian companies who have invested about $27 billion in this country.
Nigeria's President Tinubu appreciated India's efforts to highlight the concerns of developing countries through the Voice of Global South Summit. India and Nigeria agreed to work together to meet the development aspirations of the Global South.
Now in the G20, India is a strong partner, and also African Union, which is now a permanent member of G20, and Nigeria is a very strong country within the AU and is also an invitee country for the G20. Also Nigeria, given that it's become a partner country in the BRICS, in different ways both India and Nigeria can take up the agenda of development and put it in the center of the global discourse. There also through the Voice of the Global South, Nigeria has actively participated in the Voice of the Global South Summit that India has organized, and Prime Minister leadership took the lead in that.
During the meeting, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu also discussed cooperation in the energy sector.
Some Indian companies are already working on the CNG areas, which is the focus area of the President also. There are companies which are working in CNG's citywide network as well as setting up the outlets for CNG over here. CNG kits CNG kits are being also sent over here so that it can be put in the cars and vehicles to use the CNG. On pharma and medicine, you already know that there are nearly $4 billion of investment by Indian companies in the pharmaceutical sector here.
You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
G20 meeting taking place in Rio on the 18th and 19th of this month. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be participating here as well, along with the leaders of the world's 20 largest economies who will be deliberating on key issues such as eliminating hunger and poverty, sustainable development. For all the latest on the 2024 G20 summit in Rio, join me, Gautam Roy, only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get you more international updates. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has issued a stark call to action, urging G20 nations to wield their influence in addressing critical global crises. Speaking from Rio de Janeiro on Sunday, he urged G20 nations to wield their unparalleled influence to address the urgent global challenges. He stressed the urgency of climate action, warning of catastrophic consequences of major economies if, in fact, major economies fail to act. He also emphasized on the need for peace in Gaza, Ukraine and Sudan.
And I have come to Rio with a simple message. G20 leaders must lead. And G20 countries, by definition, have tremendous economic clout and they yield massive diplomatic leverage. They must use it to tackle key global problems.
United States President Joe Biden's administration has for the first time permitted Ukraine to use the US-supplied long-range missile for striking inside Russia. With 2 months left in office, the president has authorized the Ukrainian military to use the system known as ATACMS, that is ATACMS, to help defend its forces in the Kursk region of Russia. The development marked a significant change in the policy of the US in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The weapons are also likely to be used in response to North Korea's decision to send thousands of troops to Russia in support of Russian President Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine plans to conduct its first long-range attacks in the coming days without revealing details due to operational security concerns. For months, Ukraine's President Zelensky has been urging that the restrictions on the missiles be lifted, allowing Kyiv to strike outside its own borders. On Sunday, Zelensky reacted to the report saying that such things are not announced. Missiles speak for themselves.
Today there's a lot of talk in the media about us receiving permission for respective actions, but strikes are not carried out with words. Such things are not announced. Missiles will speak for themselves. They certainly will. Glory to Ukraine.
Hezbollah has confirmed the death of its media relations chief, Mohammad Atif, in an Israeli strike on Sunday in central Beirut. Israel has rarely hit senior Hezbollah personnel who do not have clear military roles, and its airstrikes have mostly targeted Beirut's southern suburbs, where the group has its heaviest presence. Israel's military, which earlier declined to comment, issued a statement late on Sunday reporting that it had eliminated Atif. The Lebanese health ministry said that the strike had killed 1 and injured 3. A second separate strike later on Sunday hit Mar Elias, another central area, killing at least 2 people and injuring 22 others. Schools and higher education institutions in Beirut and surrounding areas have also been shut due to caution. The swearing-in ceremony for the new cabinet of the Sri Lankan government will be held on Monday at the Presidential Secretariat in the presence of President Anura Kumara Dissanayake. Local media reports in fact suggest that the President plans to appoint a 23-member cabinet, retaining the key portfolios of defence and finance under his leadership. According to the reports, Dr. Harini Amarasuriya is set to be reappointed as Prime Minister, while Vijita Hirath will continue in his role as the Foreign Minister. The ruling National People's Power Alliance won a landslide victory at parliamentary elections, winning 159 out of 225 seats, increasing their tally from 3 seats. Earlier in September, NPP leader Anura Kumara Dissanayake won the presidential election, riding on an anti-corruption and economic reforms campaign. The Indian Navy is set to conduct the 4th edition of a pan-India coastal defence exercise called Sea Visual 24, 20 and 21 on 20, that is Sea Visual 24 on 20th and 21st of November. Now, the exercise offers a significant opportunity to assess current preparedness of all the maritime security agencies, identifying their strengths and weaknesses, and also enhancing the nation's overall maritime defence framework.
To check the efficacy of various security agencies, 4th edition of Pan-India Coastal Defence Exercise Sea Vigil 24 will be conducted on 20th and 21st November this year. The 4th edition of Exercise Sea Vigil, conducted by the Indian Navy, will span an unprecedented scale both in terms of geographical reach and the magnitude of participation, with involvement of 6 ministries and 21 organizations or agencies.
Sea Vigil is a pan-Navy exercise. It involves all the agencies and the authorities who are associated with maritime security, coastal defense, offshore security. This includes about 6 ministries and nearly 20 organizations. It is being spearheaded by the Indian Navy but has got a very prominent participation from the Indian Coast Guard, the State Marine Police, the Fisheries Department, the Port Authorities, Director General of Shipping, CISF, BSF and many other agencies.
The focus will be on strengthening the security of coastal assets like ports, oil rigs, single point moorings, cable landing points, and critical coastal infrastructure, including the coastal population. Western Naval Command is responsible for the coastal defense of the states of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, and the Union Territory of Daman and Diu. Exercise Sea Vigil 24 will be conducted simultaneously in all coastal states and the union territories of the country, wherein thorough audit of complete coastal defense and security infrastructure will be carried out.
To keep our check that our coastal line is totally secure, Indian Navy along with several other organizations are conducting Sea Vigil, which is the exercise wherein all organizations related to the sea are connected. We understand that Sea Vigil, which comprises of Indian Navy, Coast Guard, Mumbai Police, Marine Police, DG Shipping, DG Lighthouse and many more are totally involved in this, and this will take place on 20 and 21st of November, and we can understand from then that the security, the forces will be further strengthened. With camera person Gaurav Kagra, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Mumbai.
At COP29, India criticized developed nations for stalling progress on climate finance and mitigation, highlighting the disproportionate impact of climate change on developing countries. India called out the risk of ambition and support from wealthier nations. India has also urged respect for past agreements and demanded equitable responsibility to ensure meaningful global climate action. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya gets us more details.
At the ongoing COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan, India expressed strong dissatisfaction over the reluctance of developed countries to engage meaningfully on climate finance and the Mitigation Work Programme, or MWP. India aligned its stance with the views expressed by the like-minded developing countries, LMDCs, the Arab Group and the African Group of Negotiators, or AGN. India's statement highlighted the disproportionate impacts of climate change on developing countries, noting their limited capacity to recover or adapt. It called out developed nations for ignoring past decisions, particularly those from COP27, and undermining the principles of the Paris Agreement. The statement stressed that the Mitigation Work Programme was established as a non-punitive framework that respects national sovereignty. India criticized developed nations for shifting goalposts, delaying their own climate action, and consuming a disproportionate share of the global carbon budget. As the impacts of climate change intensify, India has called for greater accountability from developed nations, urging them to step up their mitigation ambition and provide necessary financial support. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
With pollution reaching alarming levels, the Centre's panel monitoring the Delhi NCR air quality has announced to impose Stage 4 restrictions under Graded Response Action Plan, that is GRAP, from Monday, November 18th. The air quality in the capital remained in the severe category for the past few days despite restrictions under GRAP, prompting authorities to impose stringent anti-pollution measures. The new set of restrictions would come into force from 8 a.m. on Monday. The restrictions under the GRAP 4 include stopping entry of traffic into Delhi except for trucks carrying essential items. Do not permit LCVs registered outside Delhi other than EV, CNG, BS6 vehicles, diesel to enter Delhi. Enforce strict ban on flying of Delhi registered BS4 and below diesel operated medium goods vehicles and heavy goods vehicles, except those carrying essential commodities. Banning of construction and demolition activities as in the GRAP Stage 3, also for linear public projects such as highways, roads, flyovers, over bridges, power transmission, pipelines, telecommunication, etc. NCR state governments and GNCTD may take a decision on discontinuing physical classes even for classes 6 to 9th, class 11th and conduct lessons through the online mode. NCR state governments, GNCTD, to take a decision on allowing public, municipal and private offices to work on 50% strength and the rest to work from home. Central government may take appropriate decision on permitting work from home for employees in central government offices. State governments may consider additional emergency measures like closure of colleges, education institutions and closure of non-emergency commercial activities, permitting running of vehicles on odd even basis of registration numbers. Children, elderly and those with respiratory, cardiovascular, cerebrovascular or other chronic diseases to avoid outdoor activities and stay indoors as much as possible. Delhi Chief Minister Atishi on Sunday announced the discontinuation of the physical classes for all students except classes 10th and 12th. The development comes hours after Delhi's air quality deteriorated further to severe plus, prompting the authorities to impose Grab 4 restrictions in the national capital. The CAQM suggested online teaching for the students of classes 6 to 9th and class 11th. All right, on to sports now. The Indian hockey team beat Japan 3-0 in its final pool match of the Women's Asian Champions Trophy in Rajgir. Navneet Kaur broke the deadlock in the third quarter, while Deepika Kumari converted 2 penalty corners to secure a resounding win. India have finished at the top of the standings with a perfect record of 15 points from the matches. Also, Japan finished 4th with 5 points to take the last semi-final berth. India will play Japan again in the semi-finals on Tuesday. Spain's rider Jorge Martin claimed his first Moto Grand Prix World Championship title after he finished third in the season-ending Solidarity Grand Prix in Barcelona on Sunday. The race was won by his title rival Francisco Bagnaia. Martin headed into the final race of the season with 19 points lead, and the Spaniard needed to finish in the top 9 to clinch the title. Bagnaia had done everything to close the gap in the title race, including victory in the final Grand Prix, which was his 11th win of the season, but Martin's 32 podium finish in the season earned him the title by 10 points. Up next, we're heading for a short break. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a bit.
From lush forests to rugged hills, from pristine ocean beach stretches to stunning lakes, there is something to explore in every corner of the state. And some adventures are wilder than others. Watch Postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
G20 meeting taking place in Rio on the 18th and 19th of this month. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be participating here as well, along with the leaders of the world's 20 largest economies who will be deliberating on key issues such as eliminating hunger and poverty, sustainable development. For all the latest on the 2024 G20 summit in Rio, join me, Gautam Roy, only on DD India.
Welcome to Jharkhand, the land of forests. Mesmerizing abundance of nature. Vast accumulation of natural resources. Rich legacy of contributing to India's economic foundations.
Welcome back after the break. After concluding his successful Nigeria visit, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the 19th G20 summit in Brazil's Rio de Janeiro. As a Troika member, India will play a significant role in shaping the agenda, building on the momentum from its own G20 presidency. Brazil is expected to maintain the focus on Global South priorities, ensuring continuity and progress on key issues. The theme of Brazil's G20 presidency is building a just world and a sustainable planet, and it strongly aligns with the priorities that India had advanced in 2023. It will be the first G20 summit to be held in Brazil, and it will also be the first full G20 summit with the African Union as a member, having joined during the G20 summit in the 2023 G20 summit in New Delhi. All right, Gautam Roy is joining us from Rio to get us more. Gautam, good morning. Now, in a short while from now, the Prime Minister will be landing in Rio de Janeiro to attend the G20 summit. Get us more as to what would be the priorities for India, talk of India's participation as a Troika member. What all do we expect?
Greeting from Rio, where we are right now waiting where Prime Minister Modi will be staying during the 2 days that he'll be attending the G20 summit in Rio. And we have a lot of people of Indian origin who've gathered here from all over Brazil, really. They've come from Sao Paulo, from Manaus. And of course, there are a few families, about 40, 50 odd families in Rio itself. And they've come here to greet Prime Minister Modi because they feel a great affinity not just for the country but for the leader as well. And if you ask about India's priorities, they're very clear in terms of how India wants that all the sustainable development goals be achieved by the time it is designated to be achieved, that is by 2030. And it only happens if the world's economy, all the world's economies grow at a certain pace that India has been keeping itself being the fastest growing large economy in the world, fastest growing G20 country in the world. So if you want to eliminate poverty and hunger, which is one of the goals, a global alliance is going to be launched tomorrow to achieve this from Rio. Brazil has been pursuing this goal for quite some time and is very close to its heart, and so it is India's. But if it is a goal that needs to be achieved, then economic growth is the only way forward, and this is going to be India's emphasis to a large extent, apart from ensuring that conflicts are addressed in an effective manner.
All right, Gautam, you're there at the hotel awaiting the arrival of the Prime Minister, and behind you I see anxious faces there waiting for their Prime Minister, flashing the flags of India. Get us get us more as to, you must have interacted, what are their expectations, what is the level of the excitement? If possible, ask your camera person to show a pan view, so that we can gauge the excitement and the enthusiasm there.
Well, it's certainly I am the camera person myself, so I can just take you through, what kind of excitement has built up over here. Look at these people, they are gathered here in large numbers. You can see right behind me. There they are. They're all here to greet Prime Minister Modi. You can see they've been aligned in a U-shape around. And in the anticipation of Prime Minister's arrival, there's some Dandiya and Garba also happening from Prime Minister's home state, Gujarat. These ladies have been preparing from different cities in Brazil online for the past few weeks, and now all that is coming to fruition. We also have plans of Vedic strokes being chanted. There are students of Brazilian Acharya here, and these are Brazilian students who will be reciting Vedic, a musical presentation of Vande Mataram 2. That is good. Happen. So a lot prepared in a very short span of time by these people of individuals here in Rio.
All right, Gautam. Now, this will be for the first time that Brazil is organizing the G20 summit. Added to that, also the African Union will be participating at the forum. Help us understand what kind of discussions or what kind of participation do we expect from the G20 summit this time around, when we talk of how the forum has further been strengthened with the participation of the African Union, with the inclusion of African Union now?
So when it comes to increasing the weight of the global south, that has happened in a very, very dramatic manner because of the inclusion of the African Union. These are 55 African countries which will be represented by the African Union this time as a full-time member. And that adds a weight to the voice of the global south when it comes to ensuring that there is climate justice, because G20 also becomes a major forum to ensure that a sense of direction can be given for COP29 in Baku for it, which is being expected because it is a big issue, climate justice, climate financing, and we believe that things are getting a bit stuck in Baku as well because of that. So some sort of a direction is expected from G20 as well in Rio. And apart from that, there are issues of global financing. issues related to accumulation of debt, which the global south has had to face. A lot of these countries have had a very tough time economically in recent times because of the kind of debt that is accumulated. And that is also something that is being sought to be addressed through this forum too.
All right, Gautam, G20 was founded in 1999, and it was founded basically as an economic grouping, and eventually it saw, it has now been organized as a summit level forum. Get us more as to over the years, how has G20 evolved, and when we talk of its importance on the global page, what does it offer, and how does the world look at the G20 summit?
Well, it is because of the timing that it is happening and the kind of issues that the world is facing at this time, that a gathering of world leaders of this sort of a stature, the world's 20 biggest economies, becomes of critical interest because people are looking to find answers to how the world and these powerful countries respond to what is happening, not just in Ukraine, not just in Gaza, not just on the climate front, but also on ensuring that the cost of living crisis also addressed the fact that inflation has still been around, and although it has started moderating in certain countries like the US, it is still going strong in others. So these are issues, and people are looking for solutions when there is a lot of political change happening all across the world as well. More than 70 countries going through democratic process and change through that in the regime as well. So in a state of flux, the world quite a lot in this particular in 2024, which is why the people have a certain amount of uncertainty as well that they're dealing with. And they're looking for some clear direction from the G20 on a wide range of subjects, like I mentioned, some of them, these conflicts, climate change, financing, and of course, when we talk about looking for answers to almost perpetual problems like hunger and poverty, these are some of the things that the world is looking at, that the leaders together, they will form a consensus on how to make progress on these fronts.
All right, Gautam. Also, India hosted the G20 summit last year, and it is also part of the G20 Troika along with Brazil and South Africa. For the benefit of our viewers, very quickly, just get us a quick gist of the, of how significant was the G20 summit organized by India last year, and will there be any more carry forwards that will be taken up in the G20 this year?
Yes, well, certainly. I mean, the G20 summit that took place in India was on an unprecedented scale, really. So many events taking place all around the year, which culminated in September last year in the G20 summit. And another landmark moment was that on the first day itself, the Delhi Declaration had come out, because it took a lot of time, a lot of tough negotiations, but ultimately a consensus was delivered on even contentious issues like Ukraine. Remember that the Gaza conflict and what has followed after that in West Asia wasn't even on the map at that time around. So in terms of carrying forward the spirit of the Delhi Declaration, even Brazil has been talking about that, because Brazil, to a large extent, is a plurilateral partner of India as well. In BRICS, it's already there. There is IPSA. And in G20 too, since India was the host preceding year, they were all part of a troika, including South Africa. So a lot of these issues are being taken forward in the kind of approach that is to be taken to even address issues of hunger and poverty, which is, of course, a global alliance is being announced tomorrow. It will be launched to address the issue of hunger and poverty around the world. And for instance, India's spirit of taking the digital route to addressing these issues, that will also be part and parcel of the solution this time around.
Yes, Gautam. Also, when we talk of India's participation at the forum, get us more on that, added to that, how India is being seen as the voice of Global South, how important is that? And as a forum, G20, how much space or how much, opportunities does it provide for India to emerge as the voice of the Global South?
Well, that is what India has been talking about. It has brought the Global South together within India as well in the past, and it has emerged as an effective voice of the Global South because of the way it has been putting across all these issues that we've been talking about. by Prime Minister Modi saying it's not the end of war, because the countries that are affected the most because of any conflict, especially like the one in Ukraine or the one in West Asia, are the ones in the global south. If you talk about climate change, who's the worst affected? It is the global south. They have to bear the brunt of the onslaught of the uncertainties, whether extreme weather events, and they're the ones who are short of resources as well. So all these issues India has been putting forth, it's not just been pointing at problems, it's been pointing to way to solutions as well. It's also demonstrated how these solutions can be brought about by leveraging the digital power that India has, the kind of digital public infrastructure that India has set up. So it's not just about stating the problem and expecting that other people will give answers. India says that the global south can provide its own answers to its own problems as long as everybody enables it, helps it along as well. That is all the help that the global south really needs. It has the capability. It just needs to be enabled to a certain extent through finance, through know-how, sharing technology, and all that is something that India has been voicing for the global south consistently for several years now.
Yes, Gautam, also when we talk of the priorities for the leaders at the G20 summit, climate change, climate talks will be an important aspect of the G20 summit in Rio, given the stalemate that was seen at COP29. Help us understand what options, or really is there a breakthrough insight when we talk of these discussions on climate at the G20?
Well, yes, we are in fact in a situation where there were reports emerging that things are getting stuck in Baku because of the kind of deal that is being drawn up as far as climate financing is concerned, and the manner in which it should be dispersed. Earlier, it used to be, the talk used to be of $100 billion a year. Now it's being raised to $1 billion. That's what is the figure that's emerging. And in terms of financing, how this money should be given out, because the global south, a lot of these developing countries want that this is the money which should be given in grants or in similar means, whereas the developed countries, they want to loan the money, although it will be a subvented kind of a loan. There will be a very low interest rate, but still, it will be a loan which will have to be returned. And the developing countries are saying that this is not fair because the polluters should be paying, and these are legacy producers that we're talking about, polluters that we're talking about, I'm sorry. And countries like the US, it's the biggest legacy polluter in the world. It may not be the biggest polluter in the world now. That is a place that has been overtaken by China. But a legacy polluter in the world is still the US. And with the political change that has come in the US, one is again uncertain as to what extent would President-elect Donald Trump be willing to bear that responsibility going forth the next 4 years. So all these issues are leading to uncertainties on how the climate battle will be fought in the coming years, which is what is happening in Baku. They're looking for direction from Rio in terms of all the G20 leaders gathering here.
All right, Gautam, just a while back we talked of how G20 has evolved, but then when we talk of the G20 countries together as a grouping, they account for, close to 85% of the world economy. Added to that, they also are the largest contributors to the, multilateral development banks, helping to steer climate finance. Put all this together, get us more as to how strong or influential is the G20 grouping of the countries on the global page.
Well, certainly it is extremely significant because it's not always that all these leaders are able to come together at one particular place from all corners of the world. Look at Prime Minister Modi. He has, in fact, traveled from Abuja over here, and he will further be going to Georgetown too. So quite a journey there. And these are the kind of efforts that are required to ensure that there is concerted action that takes place in all these fronts, and the world is willing to make those efforts as well. And we hope that there will be progress on multiple fronts here, because that's the kind of sentiment that is being carried by the leaders and their teams.
All right, so this is our correspondent Gautam, who is there with us from Rio de Janeiro. For the viewers who've just joined in, we are getting you live inputs from Gautam from Brazil. And in a short while from now, the Prime Minister will be arriving in Rio de Janeiro. Or as I speak, I'm told that the Prime Minister has landed in Rio de Janeiro and he will be participating in the 19th G20 summit in Brazil. So up your screens, we have the Prime Minister arriving at Rio de Janeiro after completing a successful visit to Nigeria. The Prime Minister being received at the airport in Rio de Janeiro. And the Prime Minister did talk of how there are a lot of expectations from the 19th G20 summit that will be held in Rio de Janeiro. Remember, this comes after India hosted a successful G20 summit in the national capital in 2023 last year. And this G20 summit is also significant given the fact that African Union will be participating as part of the G20 summit for the first time after their inclusion was announced last year at the G20 summit in India. So here the Prime Minister arriving in Rio de Janeiro on the second leg of his three-nation tour after completing a successful visit to Nigeria. The Prime Minister in Rio de Janeiro, and India will be participating at the 19th G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro. Just a while back, we had inputs coming in from our correspondent Gautam, who is present outside the hotel where the Prime Minister is expected to stay. And he talked of how G20 has evolved over the years. He also talked of the excitement of the people of the Indian diaspora that have members of the Indian diaspora that have gathered there to welcome the Prime Minister at the hotel. So up on our screens, we have Prime Minister Narendra Modi arriving at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to attend the 19th G20 summit. The world looks to G20 in Rio for a breakthrough in climate talks, given the stalemate that was seen at the COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. The Prime Minister has talked of optimism, and he also talked of how G20 summit is going to be important. So the Prime Minister there has arrived at Rio de Janeiro in Brazil to participate in the 19th G20 summit. Through the day, we'll get you all the developments with regard to this. But as of now, that's it in this edition of DD India Live. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
G20 meeting taking place in Rio on the 18th and 19th.